Okay, so if you will follow along, so this is going to require you to do some downloads, keep track of where you've put some things. So please, please, please follow along. If you get behind, wave your arm in the air or something so I know that we can, or yell at me, and we can try to figure out where you're at. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to this link here. And usually what happens, I go to some external link and it decides that it's gone. So this is a piece of software that says, all right, I am going to embed things inside of something else. So there are video tutorials and all kinds of things, but what we really need to do is we need to download it. So I'm going to click the download binary as it goes ever so slowly. All right. So it asks for Bitcoin payment. And if my uncle were Bill Gates, every time I did this, I would pay them for it. But unfortunately, I can't. So we're going to use the free version. So download the software. So if you click on this link right here, it should start a download process. And on this one, it is actually started. So it's not very big, but unfortunately, depending on the time of the day, our internet speed can vary quite a bit. Come on and download. All right. So to jump ahead just a little bit, I'm going to go to the folder where this is going to be downloaded to, our downloads folder. So I'm going to go to downloads, and it's downloading right there. So a couple of other things I'll do while it's going there is I'm going to start a text editor. So if you will hit the Windows key and type text or notepad, either one, it should pop up our little notepad like this. So one of the things I'm going to do is use this notepad as kind of my scratch pad so that I can remember things. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create 3 passwords, and we'll use 3 of them in here eventually. But I need long, strong passwords, so I'm going to just label them. My first password. So by putting them into this text file, I can then very simply just copy and paste them. So I'm going to make them as random as possible. I can, yes. Hold on. Do a couple of things here to make life easier for you. Font size. Let me see. Is that easier to read? The other thing I can do is easier to read here. Let's see if that's any easier for you to read. Better? All right. All right. So I've downloaded this zipped file, this container. So the very first thing I need to do is I need to right click and extract all. And then it'll pop up a little box and says, where do you want to extract it? For right now, this is a fine place to put it. And then it actually opened it up. So notice here we have it. I might move it over to my documents somewhere I can find really easily. And then notice it's down here in OpenPop. So if if I open it up, it really doesn't have a ton of items in there. But what it does have is an application, and we have to make sure all the other pieces are here. And then we can just run this open puff right here. And when it runs, that's what it looks like. That doesn't look scary and intimidating yet, does it? No. So what this does is essentially we can hide or unhide items. So we need a couple of things first. So I need a picture that I can use that's big enough. And so we could do screenshots. You could go out. So what I might suggest is going out in a browser and large picture download. Tons of those out there. Maybe I'll use this picture of an elephant, and I'll see if I can download it here. Save image as. And I'm going to save that under my documents also. And I'm going to call it test image. So we have to find an image. I'm going to go look and make sure that that one will work. So I can always go back to my Explorer folder, and I can go to Documents, and I can say, I want this picture that I just downloaded. Now, that one is in a weird file format, so I think I'm going to have to try something different. So I may change my search, and I want a JPEG. So maybe that one's not going to work. But there's tons of images out there that I can find. So see if that one will let me save that as a JPEG image. Okay. So I'm going to save that one as my test image. And just so I can tell the difference with them. So I need to look at this test image that I've just saved here. And I want to look at it. It's pretty good size, 1,700 kilobytes. I'm going to go to Properties. And Properties is going to tell me a little bit about the picture, about how big it is. So 1.65 megabits. So, I hope it's big enough. So we're gonna go back in, and we're gonna see if this one's gonna work. So the original picture, 5,760 by 3,840 pixels. So we have that information about it. We're gonna try this one first. I'm gonna delete this one that's in the JIF file. All right. So here's my picture, and I can open it, and it'll open up in this photos thing. All right. Pretty good size picture. You can scroll in a ways even. So nice picture I might want to send, a friend of mine. All right. I have OpenPuff available here. Well, I have to do a couple of other things. I need to find out and create a message. So I'm going to create my message really quickly. And so I'm going to open up another copy of Notepad. So I'm going to say File, New. And I'm going to say save this for now and put it under Documents. And I'm going to call this one OpenPuff Passwords. I want to be able to remember those, so you'll see why here in a minute. And then I've created a new one here. And this one is going to be what I'm going to call my secret message. So all students in CMIS 360 answers to the final in a picture. Oh, well, that would be kind of cool. So I'm going to go save this one. And I'm going to hit the Save As because I want to put it in the documents. And I'm going to call this my secret message. So now I actually have created one that's actually called secret message. And so this message is what we're going to hide inside of that picture. All right, everybody kind of with me now? So we need a big picture, and we need our secret message. All right. So the first thing, before I can unhide a message, I need to hide that message. And so I'm going to click the little hide button right there. And remember where I said you needed 3 passwords? So we're actually using all 3 of those in here. And don't worry about the nomenclature yet. We're going to find out more about that. But we're actually going to put 3 passwords in there. They need to be uncorrelated because that will cause us some issues. But so I'm going to go back and I'm going to open up where I put those passwords. So I'm going to copy and paste them in to OpenPuff because this also keeps them safe. So I'm going to do 1. Now, here's what's a little strange. In my brain, this would be 2, and this would be, but it's apparently not. So copy. So you may even want to say A, B, and C, just so you remember what they are. All right. So what this does is it creates some password parameters. And so it says, okay, it passes our test. So what we next need to do is we need to figure out where and what we're going to put that message into. And so right here, so this is what's kind of interesting. So we're going to do it kind of in a basic model, but you can actually spread this message out over multiple files to make it even more hidden from other people. But for us, we're just going to click on the add button. Somewhere it's going to pop up. Come on. Okay. So it popped up our Explorer window, and we saved everything under Documents. So I'm going to go back to Documents, and I'm going to find that picture that we were going to use. So there's my test image. Now, if I called it something really weird, that might be a giveaway. But I'm going to go ahead and open that then. And so notice it's saying, all right, we're going to put this in there. And so it grinds away and says, okay, here's my picture. My second part over here is where we're going to put our data. And so my target here is we're going to browse. And that's where I'm going to put my secret message right there. So that's my secret message. So it's going to actually tell me what's all involved in there. Okay, so we have our image. And we have our message. All right. Now, there's all different kinds of different things you can do. And in fact, if you look over here, we can put them inside of PDF files, WAV files, audio files, image files, movie files, all different kinds of things. We're not going to mess with any of that because we've already selected it here. But we could change how it's encoded, but we're going to use the default. You could even add a decoy messages and all. It's the amount of stuff you can do is pretty intense. But we're going to go through on the default. And we're just going to click this button here that says hide data. And so your computer will churn and grind, and depending on how fast your computer is and different things, it can use a video card, maybe it doesn't use one. And now we get to create where this is going to go out. Now, everything else was in my documents, but I don't want it in the same place. I'm going to go ahead and just put this right on my desktop. And the reason for that is it would overwrite the existing image file, and I can't compare the two of them, and that's what I would like to do here. So I'm going to click OK. And now it actually is burying that message inside of that picture. And so, depending on the size of the picture, the size of your message, the speed of your computer, this may take a while longer. And my guess is it's not optimized necessarily for every computer, but all right, it seems to be done. So I'm going to close this. Oh, there it finally popped up. It did process it. So screen was all green, and it even will give me this at the end and say, "Yep, we saved it. Everything's fine." All right. So I'm going to look on my desktop, which is very, very tiny over here. And I'm going to look for that picture where I thought I saved it. So it's over on that side. So this is test image, and that's the one that we just modified. Yes, sir. Okay, so are you have to make sure that they are JPEGs or an approved format. My guess is they're not big enough. What size were they? They should be big enough. Let me go back through here real quick, and then we'll look at that one. JPEG should work. You can also do bitmaps and all kinds of other things. Let me open this back up. So when you have it, it's stored here, and is this turned green? Ah. So it may be something weird on the image you selected. Um, so mine's just a normal JPEG. It's not even really that big. So I would look at the properties on it and make sure that it really is, even though you think it is, make sure that it's actually a JPEG type of file. All right, let me look at a couple things here. So I'm gonna look at this file from a couple of different standpoints. Close out my open pub for now. No, I've made it mad. Okay, come on. There we make that go away. And I want to look at this test image, and I want to go to properties. And when I look at properties, so 1,736, 109 bytes, or if I multiplied by the 8, it'd be how many zeros and ones. Okay. And if I open that image up, does it look the same? Does it look any different? No, I don't see any difference. So I'm going to go to the original site we had. So under documents, I'm going to open up this one again. So now we can look at them side by side. Hmm. Do you guys see any differences between the two of them? Mm-mm. And if I look at the sizes, they're exactly the same size. But I want to see if that message really does pop out of there. So same size, same size. So I'm going to go back here and I'm going to close this because I'm done with that part. So now I want to see if I can unhide a message. So I'm going to click unhide. All right. So this is why I had you save those passwords because one. So that way I can put the passwords back in there. And in fact, that's one of the downfalls to this is how do I get those passwords to somebody discreetly? And I have some ideas, but we'll. So I'm going to copy this one. And that one I know is going to go into A. I'm going to copy 2, which I know is going to go into B. And I'm going to copy 3, which goes into C. All right. So I put my passwords in. And so this program now is set to try to decode. But what I don't have is a carrier. So I'm going to click Add Carrier. And what I'm looking for now, and that's why I had it saved in somewhere different, I'm not looking for my file I originally created. I'm looking for the one that was modified. So not the one in Documents. I want to look for the one that's on the desktop. So this test image here, I want to open that one up. And that's where it's confusing to me because it says, all right, I have two files, and typically what you do is overwrite the original file. And that's kind of the way it's set up. But I wanted to be able to show you the differences between the two of those. All right. And so now it's found, all right, test image, and I'm going to click the unhide button. And it'll probably pop up and say not responding while it's calculating. All right, I'm going to output that somewhere. And I think I'm going to put it on my desktop again. That way I know that it's not the same message, okay? So now it's processing. And it takes it a little bit. So this is a fairly processor intensive process. Okay. So any minute now it'll pop up and say we're done. All right. So it says one carrier processed, and it created something. Hidden file was secret message.txt, and it unencoded that, and it put it then up here into documents. So now that message appeared, and now we've pulled it back out. So I can store a pretty good sized chunk of data inside of a single picture, but I have the ability to do all kinds of things with it. I can actually store them inside of audio files, MP3, which are music files, MP4, which are video files, all different kinds of ways we can store them. The biggest problem we have with this is those passwords. It's a little cumbersome. Now, I can do this, so it only requires a single password. And what that does is use all three of the methods that they're using them, it uses the same one. So it's a little less secure, and if I only need to get one password across to somebody, that's one way that we could do that. But how do I get a file like this, so some of that password, over to somebody else? Do I require any special characters in here? No. So beforehand, possibly one way to do it would be a string of random numbers and letters. But if I don't require numbers, what if it's just a set of 9 words and we just put them in a specific order, and then I just buried that inside of a text message or an email to you, so that we're trying to get those to you as minimally invasive as possible. So those passwords being exposed here and sent are the biggest issue we have. All right. So what I need for you to turn in is this. Go back to the assignment. Somewhere have an assignment. There it is. Okay. So if you go through here, it's asking for uh, screenshots is one way you can do it. You can do that anywhere you do that. All right. Here's what I need you to do. I want you to tell me. Let me just add it to there. Tell me that you managed to accomplish this. And I think this is a great way that you'll see some suggestions or some hints for the final, maybe even direct answers for the final, and we can hide them right inside of a picture we send to you. if you send a picture like that to somebody, unless they know what's in there, it's very, very, very hard to find. Because not only does it scramble it into the little blank spaces inside of that file, but it also encrypts it before it does that. So this is a great way to hide things. And if you do words, we can remember 9 words, right? The brown cow jumped over the rising moon or something that would have enough words. And you would know that then every group of 3 goes into a password location. So this is a free tool that's out there. Does it scare anybody a little bit? Because without those passwords, the IRS, the FBI, they can't open that up. Doesn't have to be run and installed. It can just run as a download. Oh. So it's actually a really, really hard tool to crack unless you have some information about it. So if you've got the FBI intercepting your uh, emails, well, you probably already have some other pieces that we need to think about. But this is a really great tool to do that with. All right. All you have to do is once you get all the way through there is send a screenshot of some kind demonstrating that you have completed this assignment. So some way that I know you completed this assignment. So if I get to the end here and I have, and I put in my passwords, that's green, this is green, and then you show me, hey, this is where I found my file, perfect. Just some way you can do that. Because I do intend, I don't know if I'll do it on the midterm or not, I wasn't planning on it, but we might even bury some stuff in there for the midterm, ways we can hide data. And so if it's something we've used, that's a great tool. So I would be suspicious of any photos you get. I can hide data in there. And it's very, very, very hard to find. So if I were a terrorist, for example, this would be a great way I could hide some data. Now, I'm not suggesting that being a terrorist is a good thing. Take that to heart. But all I need is some evidence that you have finished that for full points on this. So it has some other options and all different kinds of things that you can look at. The help file has a lot of items. So it tells you all about different pieces of it. Video tutorials in here. This has been out for quite a while. So if this is out for the last 20 years, what else is out there to hide our content?